Hello listeners, we are your co-hosts Jeanine Bailey and Marie Quigley for the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. Empower World brings guests who are making a difference to the world to inspire coaches and leaders who lead with mind, heart and soul.
Hello and welcome listeners to the very next episode of our podcast, the Empower World Coaching and Leadership Podcast. And today I have a very, very, very special guest. I mean, we always have special guests on, but this one is dear to our hearts at Empower World. So welcome, listeners. I'm not here with Marie today. I'm in sunny Melbourne at my mother's place. And I am joined today with Arslan Athar, who is our amazing business manager at Empower World. He really is the glue that keeps us together as a team. And in terms of what we do, we couldn't do what we do without you, Arslan. So I'm delighted to bring you on because I was inspired by seeing a page of yours, which showed all of your magnificent achievements in music. And I just thought, how does this Superman, how does he do it? How does he be our support in such incredible ways, full time with your team and with a beautiful family? And I know family time is important to you. You have beautiful, strict boundaries in place to support you with being able to be with your family and, of course, your friends, your social life, and so much more. I know you juggle so much. So I just had to bring Arslan on because he has done our coach training. And I was curious as to how that coach training might influence his magic touch, his power to do all of the wonderful things that he does, including being an incredible athlete as well. I think Pakistan could do with you right now, the cricket team, Arslan. Arslan smiles. Welcome, Arslan.
Thank you, Jeanine. Thank you for the very warm welcome and the intro. I'm so excited to be on this podcast again. I think it's been a while that I joined you guys, and it was both of you the last time I was on the podcast. And thank you so very much for saying all that you just said. I'm not exactly sure whether I deserve so much appreciation or not, but yeah,
yes.
I take it all in with all my heart. Thank you so very much. And yeah,
Thank you.
I have an injured back, so I'm not exactly sure whether the team needs me.
Maybe another test series. Yeah. So, Arslan, again, thank you. I know that you're stretched today, so really appreciate you making the time to come onto our podcast today to support our listeners to understand, I guess, some of your magic ways of being and doing that enables you to create not only to support us and for us to do what we do, but I know support other businesses that you run, as well as the incredible music that you create. It's so invoking. And of course, there's all the film clips and the photography and the art that goes with all of that, the creativity, as well as carving out time for things that are really important to you. So, Arslan, maybe we could start with, in terms of perhaps the coach training. What did you find that supported you with all those different elements of your beautiful life?
Yeah, Jeanine, obviously, I mean, I had the privilege of working with Empower before I joined the coach training, and I could actually see the magic that was happening in. I know that there was something special happening. Looking at the photos and videos that used to come out of the training room and reading the testimonials and me managing most of the back-end stuff at Empower World. I knew that everything that was coming in was so pure, so authentic. I actually wanted to experience it myself. And I think my life has changed in so many wonderful ways after I attended the program. So I have always been a heart-centered person, but I thought that it was just something that I was carrying with myself, because normally, obviously, most of the decision making in our world is made above the surface in our heads, and that's what I thought how life should be. And if I feel like that I'm an heart-centered person, I was not sure whether this was a thing, or this it can be a way of living life professionally and personally. So yes, it has changed my life in so many ways, both at personal and professional level. I think, I now often say this, that it's the best gift that I ever received, or I gifted myself. And yeah, so yes, it was a great experience for Eddie.
Thank you, Arslan. Thank you for sharing that this was such a gift for you, and it has made a difference in your lives. So I'm wondering, for the listeners out there, what is the key things that you perhaps learnt that supports your business life, your professional life, for example? What are you noticing is the impact of learning what you have done, and how's that transpired into your world, your professional world?
Yeah, so, Janine, it's so many things. It is so many things. It's like, as I don't use this word lightly, that it changed my life. It actually did in so many ways. Like, for example, I was able to work on a few things that I thought were very positive. Like, for example, I proudly used to write in my CV before attending the course, saying that I'm a headstrong person. I thought that it was such a great thing to write. I didn't even know whether I was or not. Yeah, just giving you an example. It's similar. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, um, I used to be a perfectionist. I was able to work on my blind spots. I was able to work on my get out of my comfort zone. I never understood that staying in the comfort zone is something that is stopping you from achieving that was stopping me from achieving my dreams. So
Mm.
so many takeaways, and it's difficult to pinpoint just one thing. Uh, my relationship with people, the way I look at uh, my relationship with people, both personally and professionally, has totally changed. I was I've been in customer service, right? So they tell us to put yourself in customers' shoes when dealing with the customer. I never understood that. I mean, I'm true essence of it, if I may say so. I could not understand the true essence of it until now. How I look at things is that whatever the other person is doing, they think that it's right, that's what they're doing. And in their head, if you look at it from their perspective, whatever they do is right. It might not look right to you, but in their head, it is right. So, uh, obviously, it gives you an altogether different perspective at looking at situations, feeling at professional level, when you look at the situation from their perspective, and then uh, you're able to handle it much better. So yeah, as I said, just pinpointing one thing would be very difficult for
Thank you, Arslan. And so what I'm hearing from what you've shared so far, what's coming to mind is that you're recognizing the power of the thoughts, the mind, as well as the heart, the body. It sounds like there's been an integration of those for you to support you with your decision making, who you're being, how you show up, how you support people. Is that what I'm hearing? That's
me.
a closed question, but if you could expand on that.
It is, but exactly. The thing is that uh, as I said before, um, I was, I have always been a heart-centered person, and people are, at least I was scared to walk the path that I wanted to walk on in every situation, thinking that I should not be thinking from here or making the decision from here, but rather here. And there was always a conflict. And now it's gone. In every situation, there is a connection between my heart, my mind, and my body and soul. So that whole connection is there now. And while making decisions, obviously the logic comes from here. Whereas, you know, uh, I make sure that I'm using my emotional intelligence as well in making the decision. And that comes from here. So now I can confidently make decisions knowing that this is something that is true. It's not something that I'm making up. There is science behind it. It's a factual thing. So yeah, and it makes life so very beautiful when you have that connection going. You
Yeah.
look at the good side of things with an open heart, and you're able to listen to what's not being said. You're able to feel things that you'll not be able you will not be able to feel only from here if your whole connection is not. So intuition. Let's talk about intuition. Um, Again, I would say that I thought this was maybe something that I didn't know whether it was true or not, but now I fully believe in it. I know it's true. I know that there is message coming from a higher wiser source. We all don't know still where it comes from, but when you see it actually happening, you realize that yes, it is something. So yeah, as I said, uh, there are so many takeaways. I live a very different life now, you know, as compared to what I was, how I was living before I think.
Yeah, and again, beautiful to hear it. I'm hearing that integration of the heart, mind, body, intuition, and so there feels like a real freedom in that, and also the ability, based on what you've shared, Arslan, which I'm going to make up a bit about connecting dots, but that ability to take courageous decisions, be brave, and as you said earlier, go out of the comfort zone to be able to create potentially what your intuition and your heart is telling you. And so, as you said as well, that conflict that you used to experience is gone. So I'm guessing, far less procrastination, if any procrastination, making decisions confidently, easily, so saving time, and also being able to, at the same time, not only be perhaps more effective, and I'd really trust that you are more effective as a consequence, with yourself, with the communication with others. You can do that knowing you've got this open heart. You can put yourself in other people's shoes much more easily, to build that trust and relationships with others. So I'm hearing that is potentially all opening up for you, so that your team also feels empowered. And I know they are, and I know they're engaged. But perhaps that's opened up even more as a consequence of what you've been doing. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, absolutely. And as I said, it 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 made me a different person. My relationship with and both at personal and professional level um are more meaningful now. They're more authentic now because as I said, uh it's not just from here. So there's a connection. There's even in professional connections. I really feel connected with everybody that and it feels more like they feel more like family to me than a colleague, which is so great. You know that you can count on somebody. You know that the person that you're working with uh, um, is sincere with you, because as I said, it gives you some skills, or it has given me some skills that I'm able to, create that connection with people. And for those who I'm not able to create that relation, they they'll be filtered out. You know that I run a company, and um it has around like 25 plus people working in the team now. Um and over the years, what I've learned is that I don't have to change my ways in a way, like if I feel like I don't have to be very, headstrong while making decisions. I can, and I can still manage things, because those who, for example, I cannot trust, or who are not trustworthy, they'll be filtered out. They cannot hurt you as much as that they'll take you down. Um, with all the skills that I've acquired from the coach training program, um, uh, I'm very, 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 I can say that I'm now very open to creating pure and sincere relationships. And when it's not vice versa, it's very easy to figure it out. It's very easy. People will be filtered out very soon when you do it out.
Yeah, fantastic. And again, I'm hearing potentially that openness, that transparency, that honesty of communication and being, so that it again helps filter out who is meant to be with you and who is not. And if they're not knowing you, Arslan, they are meant to be doing something else that is for them.
Exactly. And it's not like that I'll let them go. They'll be just filtered out. It's very simple. If the energies don't match, people will be filtered out. You don't even have to take any action on that.
Yeah. Fantastic, Arslan. And there was something else that came to mind. It's gone. So while that's gone, because there's, we don't have to be perfect. We can be imperfectly perfect, or perfectly imperfect. Perhaps that's the better way. I'm curious as to, this is the other thing that I was curious about, was the creative side of you, the music that you've created. I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about that, and perhaps maybe if the coaching skills, learning the coaching skills had any influence. It may or may not have. I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, I would say 98% or 99% of my professional music came out, or I released it after I started working with it out. So I've been doing music for very long. Um, but I never thought that I was good. And it was one of the podcasts that I was listening to from Jeanine and Marie, and it covered the topic of perfectionism. And it was such a defining moment in my life. Changed a lot of things in my life, the way I look at the things, and even handle myself both personally. After listening to that podcast, I realized that professionalism is not a negative thing. I thought that it was, and everything had to be perfect. And I spent around like 10 plus years waiting for myself to be perfect to do my music professionally. So, yes, it supported me big time. The work that I do supported me with my music as well. But, and the moment that, uh, the thing is, it would sound strange that just a moment can have such a big impact on your life, the way you live it. It sounds so strange, but when it happens, it happens. This moment that I'm talking about, it actually changed the way I look at things, in terms of being a perfectionist. And ever since I've done how many music videos, both public and personal music videos. I've released 2 music albums. Um, yeah, And again, I'm not looking for perfectionism from anybody now, not just myself, but from others too. I know that being imperfect is perfect.
Oh, that makes me smile, and it makes me giggle. And as you were sharing, Arslan, it did bring up an emotion for me. I can feel it right now behind my behind my eyes, and so it kind of connects back to what I'd forgotten earlier. But it really is a thought around connection, building strong connections. You were sharing earlier about being able to create those strong connections with people that you work with feel like family. That's how I feel when we work with you, Arslan. I know Marie would say the same. And what came up for me was the times that we've, when Richard has joined us, my husband, who helps Empower World as well from time to time, and the rich conversations that we've had with you, not about work, totally unrelated about work, but finding out more about you and your wonderful family. There are these deep, richer connections that feel like they're there for life, and that's what I also feel when I hear your music, even though often I don't understand what you're saying, the words, but there's the energy behind it, the emotion behind it, that the beautiful music that I connect to. And I'm going to ask you, Arslan, to share with the audience how they can find out more about your music, because it truly is magnificent. I remember when you shared with me many years ago some of your first pieces of music, and they were just so stunning. I can't remember what they're called. It was so long ago. And I'm wondering if you've made videos about those, because they were part of your earliest recordings. So, but that connection that you're able to, that energy that you're able to bring across, not only in the way that you're being right now, but also in your music, is really beautiful. So thank you for bringing those gifts into the world, and letting go of that that perfection, and pleasing others, and pleasing yourself, because it has that beautiful ripple effect of also pleasing others anyway. So, for being authentically you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Yes, if anybody wants to listen to my music, they can find me on all the major platforms like Spotify, YouTube. Just search my name, Arslan Athar, and they will be able to listen to my music there. Um, and yes, you being happy is so very important, because if you're happy, people around you will be happy as well. If you're angry, people will. It's all about energy. The life, the soul, universe is all about energy. Um, so the energy that you're emitting is most probably what you'll be getting back from others. So if you're happy, people around you will be happy. If you're angry, people around you will be. If you're positive, you will feel positive to around yourself. Um, and I think, and I really believe in this. I really believe that this beautiful work of coaching that we do, I really believe that everybody should experience this. I experienced it in my 30s. I believe that um, people should experience it much earlier than that, if if that's possible. I, as I said, it really changes your life. It just makes you a nicer, whole, uh, better person. You just become a different person when you start to understand the importance of having that whole connection with your mind, body, heart, and soul. Um, just makes you a better human being. Boom.
And that really connects with a story that I heard yesterday on the radio, Arslan. I was listening to a gentleman interviewing another about his experience of being the recipient of an organ from someone who passed and donated their organ to him. So he was alive, and he was sharing on that particular radio program how it just changed his world, really reinforcing what you've just shared. That it's not the cars you drive, the big TV screens that you've got in front of you. It's not the big house on the hill. None of that matters when it comes to life and death. It's all about the connections that you make with another. And he shared that since that operation, he recognized that before it, he was perhaps not so aware of his fellow man and woman. He was perhaps sitting a little bit above himself and looking down upon people in a way, in that he just didn't connect. And he said now he will say hello to anybody, everyone, and smile with that amazing appreciation of what life is really about. So that fits in. That just came in as you were sharing your story, Arslan.
Absolutely. And it makes total sense to me. Life, obviously, material is important, but it's not all about material. I've seen people having all the worldly things in life, and still they're not happy. And then you will see people who don't have much, but they're very happy. So it's all within the happiness and the contentment is all. You just have to be able to explore it, and it's a different world. The world looks so beautiful when you can see the good and you can focus on the good and not their weakness. Everybody has weakness, and when you're able to understand why somebody is doing something that is not pleasing to you, when you're able to understand and look at it from their perspective, I can talk about myself. I don't have any negative emotions, right? And life becomes so light, so refreshing, and so easy to live when we can live a life like that, and you don't have any negative in it. Right? Even somebody who's doing not so much pleasing, something that is not pleasing to you, if you're able to see why they're doing from their perspective, and this is a skill that I've acquired from myself.
Yeah, brilliant. And I really truly believe that, Arslan, when we notice, because we are, as human beings, we're judging all the time, but when we notice that that's coming in, we can stop, pause, get curious about, as you say, understanding what's the driver behind that. What's perhaps the fear that is driving someone, or the desire, the love that is driving someone to influence how they are being and doing. And then we are, as you say, we're able to see them in a different way, and through the eyes of compassion, through the eyes of love and kindness, and that changes the energy within ourselves, and allows us to vibrate in a different way, in a different energy that potentially allows us to see the good. So, Arslan, as we start to wrap up our podcast today, I just want to check in with you if there are any other wise words of wisdom or insights that come in as a consequence of learning what you've learned, knowing that before you even did coach training, you were amazing, and life has changed, as you've shared, since doing the coach training. It has changed your perspectives, your ways of being and doing. I'm wondering if there's anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think all those who who think that they're heart-centered and they don't they have that conflict going on while making decisions, whether they should listen to this or they should listen to their heart. I think attending this program will actually make their life going and start believing in the own connecting more. Um, and yeah, I think if, as I said earlier, if I could do it, I would want everybody who can coach training program and see the magic of this experiencing themselves. I think the training was like.
Thank you, Arslan. Thank you for your wise words. We believe that too. We believe that this, because we are providing something in all the different parts that we do at Empower World: coach training, coaching, facilitation, workshops, etc. Supporting coaches to be the best that they can be through also mentoring and supervision. You know, we have gone through it ourselves. We've experienced it ourselves. So it's a lived experience by Marie and I. So we know the power of what we offer because it's what we went through ourselves. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for joining this podcast. If that's your only touchstone with Empower World, we really appreciate that too, as we know that we are getting many downloads. And again, we appreciate our listeners choosing to be a part of this podcast because we really do want to give back. We really do want to enhance the professionalism of this incredible profession. Can't think of another word of coaching. So thank you for listening. Arslan, thank you for joining us and sharing with us your beautiful pearls of wisdom, your experience. And I trust that people really appreciate that when you are authentic, true to yourself, when you connect what feels disconnected within yourself, it gives you the power to be so much more effective in every part of your life, enhance relationships, increase creativity, take those risks that you know that are connected with what you're passionate about, and so much more. We thank you for doing that brave work and for being a part of Empower World. You really are our glue. So thank you. Huge appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you for having me. And looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yes, and listeners, if you like this podcast, please share it with people who might also learn from it or take a pearl of wisdom, as Arslan shared he did. And if you stay on a little bit longer, you'll have the opportunity to hear some of Arslan's music with his permission. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find out more about us on our website, www.empower-world.com, and on our social media networks, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Be empowered.